Kidversations, small voices, big stories. Hi friends, welcome back to Kidversations. I'm Charlotte. Today we're having a very special guest, Meredith Redman. Would you like to welcome yourself?
Hi, I'm Meredith, and I'm so excited to be here with you today, Charlotte. I heard that you got to come out on a field trip last year to the farm.
Yes.
So I grew up on Grace Meadows Farm, and it was such a cool place to grow up. When I was a kid, it was just solely a farm, and I spent lots of time there with my siblings doing things like playing in the creek. We loved the hayloft. We used to build forts in the hayloft, and we always had like a litter of little kittens up there. We had a big barn swing that we would swing on out of the barn doors. So as you can see, you may not have seen much of that because it's come a long way since growing up there on the farm as a kid.
I didn't know you had a creek there.
Yes, there is a beautiful creek. I think on the day that you all came, it was kind of rainy and yucky weather, but there's a creek that runs through that, and it's actually called Knob Creek. And so it's neat because some of the roads around there are also named Knob Creek. But the creek was one of my favorite places to play as a kid. We used to catch crawdads and look for little minnows and things like that in the creek, so that was super fun.
How many acres did you have on the farm?
We have between 200 to 300 acres, kind of a little bit above 250 acres.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yes, it's a very large farm, and it's neat because it's very diversified. So we actually have a lot of different things on the farm. My husband and I live there. I also grew up in a house on the farm, so some of it's homes. And now, like what you got to see, we also have a creamery at the farm where we make our own ice cream. We have a restaurant there for guests to come eat family-style food, and we also have many event venues. So it's kind of neat how you can come and visit and see so much of the farm. In addition, we also have fields that have cows. We have a horse. We've got some donkeys. So it's still kind of that working farm, but also has lots of things that guests can come visit and see.
When did the farm start growing into what it is now?
So when we first moved there, like I was saying, when we purchased the property in the early 90s, it was really just kind of a fun spot for us to go as a family and just kind of play on Saturdays, things like that. When I was in middle school, we actually moved to the farm. And so that was neat to get to then live there and be there every single day. We had go-karts and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And at that time, we had a lot of registered cattle. So we really were just using the farm for cattle. But then my husband and I got married in 2014. And when we did that, barn weddings were becoming a big thing. And lots of people started saying, hey, could we get married here? And so we really started out in the event venue business and have grown it since then. So around 2014, it was when we really started trying to turn it into a business and seeing what we could make of that. So we started having weddings and hosting showers and parties and different things like that for people. And then kind of just spiraled out of control from there. Now we have all kinds of things going on.
Was that the first wedding that happened there?
So that's a great question. It actually was not. We had some family friends who had gotten married there probably 10 or 15 years before me. So just like a couple small weddings, but at that time the barns were still very rustic, like a hayloft and things like that. So they weren't actually built to be event venues. They were just, come on in, there's hay on the floor, there's horses in the stalls, that type of thing. So probably when I got married in 2014 was when we really started renovating those barns and making them look like something that someone might want to get married in as opposed to a horse stall.
What's something that you're glad from the old days that's still there on the farm?
I don't know that I could say a specific thing or place necessarily as much as what our farm stands for. So the name of the farm is Grace Meadows Farm. And the reason that we named it that is because we talked about how it's we've received that farm in God's grace. And so we're so thankful for what the farm represents. And we're thankful for the fact that it's somewhere that we can share with others. It's such a beautiful place as you got to experience and see when you came. And I just love that it's somewhere that other people can come and enjoy too. And so I've always liked, having parties there and inviting my friends. When I was little, we used to have roller skating parties where the restaurant actually is now, just on the floor in there. And so I love that it's still a place that people come and gather and get to enjoy. And then as far as like maybe a structure or a thing on the farm, there's actually an old spring house on the farm that dates back to the Civil War era. And I really enjoy kind of getting to tell people about the history of it and going into it and getting to kind of show kids these days how you scooped the water out and how cold that water is, and that this used to be the refrigerator that people used. So I think kind of the little historical aspects of it are neat too, and I'm glad we've never had to, tear down the spring house and that it's still there.
What's the biggest change that you've had that even surprised you on the farm?
I think honestly, opening the restaurant. So that was not something that my siblings and my mom really ever thought we would do. We really very much thought, we're doing weddings, we're doing some events, but that's kind of it. It's still very much a working farm. And right before COVID in 2020, my dad actually was like, I have always wanted to open up a restaurant. And we all just kind of looked at him and we said, You have? And he was like, Yep, that's my dream. We were like, That's a cool dream. And he was like, No, we're going to do it. And we all said, No, we're not really for this. And he really wanted to do it. And he's one of those people, when he puts his mind to something, he does it. And so he started it, and we actually opened in November. It's almost been 1 year next week. I'm sorry, 5 years next week. And so it's really neat to see how, even though we opened in 2020, whenever it was COVID time and people, weren't going out to eat and things like that much, we've still been very successful. So I was surprised by that because I never pictured, whenever we first moved to the farm years ago, that it would have a restaurant on it one day. But it's been a joy and it's been a treasure, and I'm glad we have it.
Does your siblings live on the farm with you?
My brother does. My sister lives in Nashville, and that's fun to kind of have. We call it the compound, a family compound. So my parents live there. My husband and I and our three little girls live there, and then my brother and his wife also live there.
How many people does it take for you to run everything on the farm?
And so we actually have probably around 90 to 100 or so employees. Obviously, they're not all there every day. The kitchen restaurant aspect of it is only open Wednesday through Saturday. But we also have, people who run our events. We have lots of servers and bussers and kitchen staff who work actually in the kitchen cooking the food. And then we've got like maintenance people who work throughout the week, people who just do kind of office duties, things like that. So that it takes a lot of people to make it all run smoothly. And we have an amazing team. And our average age, honestly, of people who work there kind of in our kitchen area is probably like 20 years old. So we have a lot of young people. So maybe one day you might get to work there. But I love that because they really have such a good attitude about it, and they're hard workers. And our guests talk all the time about how wonderful our servers and our wait staff is. And I'm thankful for their hard work that they put in.
How does it make you feel to see that many people enjoying your farm now?
That's something kind of like I told you before that makes it so special. Sometimes, whenever you live there and you experience it every day, you forget to pause and be grateful for it, or pause and even just look around and take it in, because I see it all the time. But I love that other people are there now, because whenever they walk out of the doors of the kitchen and I'm standing outside and they go, This is just the most beautiful property I've ever seen. It just makes me pause and be like, Oh, it really is. Like, and I get to live here. So I love that other people get to come out and enjoy it too, because it reminds me to slow down and soak it up too.
You all make your own ice cream. How did the creamery get started?
So, like I told you before, the restaurant was kind of my dad's dream. Well, my mom had the dream of doing the creamery. So, my family, I would definitely say we are ice cream connoisseurs. We have traveled all over the world and we love ice cream. Anywhere we go, that's the first thing we look at in that town. Is there an ice cream shop? Where can we get the ice cream? And so we just love ice cream. That's just one of our favorite desserts and something we've always enjoyed. I remember as a little girl making homemade ice cream on the back porch with the sounds and all of the smells and the tastes. And I just love ice cream so much. So I think that was something my mom really wanted to offer, because we loved it. She wanted other people to get to experience that. And something special about our ice cream is that it is homemade on the farm. And so we actually use local milk from a dairy down the road. They're kind of close family friends. And then we take that and we use it to put with our flavors and different things that we want to mix into the ice cream. So if you were to say, Hey, I love cherries and something else, then we could put that together with that milk and sugar and all of the ingredients and mix it up and make that flavor of ice cream. So it's really kind of interesting to see that whole process. My parents actually went to Ice Cream University in Pennsylvania to learn the whole process of making your own ice cream. We wanted to offer something unique and different to our guests that wasn't just something that you could go to the grocery store and buy. So we were like, we're going to figure out how to do this ourselves.
How do you come up with all those flavors?
So that's kind of a challenge sometimes. Like I said, we like to travel. So a lot of times we'll go places and see their flavors so we can get ideas from other places. Sometimes it's just kind of seasonal. So we'll think, okay, it's Christmas time. What could we offer? Gingerbread's a good flavor that people like. Right now we have that and candy cane on because those are both two kind of seasonal fun type flavors. So we have a guy who's actually over all of our creating of the ice creams and things like that. So a lot of times he'll come up with the ideas based on the season, like I said. And then sometimes we ask our guests as well. So we did a whole contest a few months ago and said, hey, put it in a jar at each location, what flavor ideas you have. And then we picked from the jar and kind of looked through all the ideas and took ideas from our guests.
What's your favorite flavor?
That's hard because I love so many of the flavors. I'd say, like, if I were talking about like long term, always day one flavor that I've loved is actually our cookies and cream. And the funny thing is that I never liked cookies and cream ice cream that much until we made it. Our cookies and cream has a vanilla base, but it actually looks chocolate because once we mix all the cookies and everything in, it's kind of got that brown look, whereas cookies and cream normally is like that white vanilla y look. But it is just so good and so creamy and delicious. And I love to put a little marshmallow drizzle with it and then make it into a milkshake, and it's so good. You'll have to try it sometime.
What kind of food do you serve at the kitchen?
So we have home style families type meals, very southern type food. Fried chicken, fried catfish, meatloaf, steak and gravy, pot roast. You're looking hungry. Green beans, mashed potatoes and gravy, things like that. Stuff that just makes you feel warm and fuzzy and like you're eating at grandma's house is how I describe it to people. And the cool thing is lots of our recipes were actually passed down from like my grandmother and different people. So for me, it's like going in and literally sitting at my grandmother's table because it's her corn recipe or it's my other grandmother's fried chicken recipe. So that makes it really special. Have you ever gotten to eat there before?
Yeah, I ate everything except for fried chicken.
Oh, really? What was your favorite?
Um, the mashed potatoes.
Aren't they so creamy? They're delicious.
What's something that goes behind the scenes that people never see?
I feel like there's a lot of different things that I could tell you about that. I would definitely say that our kitchen staff, and by that I mean the people who actually work in the back of house, is what we call it, but back in the back making the food. It's just such a cool thing to go back there and watch them in their element. So it's like a well-oiled machine back there. We have people frying the chicken at the fryers. We've got a long line that has all of the food out in, I guess we call them warmers that it's sitting in. And so it's crazy how fast they can move. So a ticket pops out of the ticket machine, they grab it and they hang it up above the line, and then they're immediately scooping into bowls as fast as they can and passing those trays down because we want to get the food out to people quick and we want it to be warm whenever they get it. So I think sometimes just standing back there, I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe how crazy and fast paced this is. And it's neat to see how everyone has their job and they just do it. They just know what to do and they get it done. And then we've got people in the other side working on the dishes and trying to get them washed as fast as possible. And then we've got people over here taking bread in and out of the oven and putting it in the baskets. And then we have another section back there where they're working on desserts, drizzling the hot fudge on the cake and grabbing desserts out of the oven and scooping ice cream and things like that. So that's the stuff that you wouldn't get to see, but getting to see it, even from my perspective, I'm like, wow, these people are amazing. We really do have fabulous staff.
So I've seen like at places they have like the giant menu where like people have to eat it or they have to pay. Like it's like huge ice cream or sandwich. Have you ever wanted to do that?
Ooh, that's such a great idea. I love the thought of, hey, if you eat this whole burger, you eat this, drink this whole milkshake that you don't have to pay for it, but it's a lot of food. Do you have a suggestion that I could use for that?
You could make like a giant plate of like all your food and they have to eat it by themselves.
I like that, like a fried chicken eating contest, or like
Yeah.
put fried chicken and then mashed potatoes and then green beans and just like make a tower of food.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be delicious. Will you be in my contest?
Sure. Do you grow any of your food for the kitchen or the animals?
We do actually. We have a large field. I honestly am terrible at numbers, so acreage I could not tell you, but it's a very large field where we actually grow what we call corn silage for the animals. And so it looks like normal corn whenever you're just like looking at it, but it's actually a special kind of corn that we chop down then and harvest and mix in with other things. And it's called silage. And we feed that to our animals all year long. It goes into a big silage pit. They pack it down, they cover it up, and then whenever whenever the animals need to be fed, my husband will scoop that out with the track and feed it to the animals. And then we also have a greenhouse on the property where we grow a lot of different vegetables. So, like tomatoes that we can use in our cornbread salad or sliced on our burgers that we serve on Wednesday and Thursdays, cucumbers, we grow corn on the cob, we've grown watermelons in the past, pumpkins. So, lots of different vegetables and things that we can either sell out front of the restaurant as produce or use in our food as well.
What values do you think makes the farm special?
I think for us, it's like I said, a place that is for families. So I think the fact that it's based upon we want families to come in and to experience it and to enjoy a place where they can feel like they can spread out and roam around. They get to eat a meal together. I think it's important to eat meals with your family and have that time of conversation. But also, then they can take a walk on the walking paths or ride the hayride together and truly just go to this destination and experience a time together as family. Also, just faith. There's a church on the property, so it's neat that we can also, have that to offer to people who come into the restaurant and say, "This is such a beautiful place." And we can say, "There's actually a church here if you want to come." It's neat that people get to walk into that on Sunday mornings and see the beauty of the farm as the sun's coming up and, rising above the pond. And also, that's just really so much of who we are. We wanted to create this place so that people could come enjoy God's creation, and we want them to see that every time that they come to experience that.
Did your dad build the church on your farm?
So the church is actually in one of our venues that we use for weddings and things like that. And my dad does attend, but they didn't necessarily have to build the church. It was just already a venue. And what they do is we might have a wedding there on a Friday and Saturday night. And then we'll take down, all the chairs and tables from the wedding and put that up. And then on Sunday morning, the guys who work the setup crew for the church will come in and set up the chairs. And then they have a stage and instruments and all of that stuff that they actually set up for the church service. So it's kind of a shared space that we use for events and for the church. And it just kind of works out hand in hand. And they're great about working with us. If I say, "Hey, I've got an event this day, can you come help me set up? Or can you tear down the stage so that I can set up for this?" And so it's kind of fun just to work together with them, but also know that they're getting to use it for God's glory.
You let school groups come and visit. Why is that important to the farm?
So I would say that that's probably my favorite part of the farm. There's lots of different things that we do, and I enjoy running the events. I enjoy greeting guests at the restaurant. But before I began kind of taking over the kitchen, I actually was a teacher, and so I love the education aspect of it. I feel like there are not enough kids who necessarily know where their food comes from or understand how a working farm works. And so I think it's special to me to get to have kids out to the farm and let them see it just like you did. Let them experience it and really soak in the knowledge. And I just love to share about farming and agriculture so that the next generation knows those things. I think that's important. And I love to read. I love sharing literature with kids. I can help continue the farming tradition in our community. I can help animals have a place to live. So I just love getting to teach that part to kids and to enjoy it and see it through your eyes. Your excitement about the things that we have going on at the farm is so fun.
When we went to the homeschool group, we ate after, but it wasn't the actual food that you served there. Why?
I don't remember what did you all have? Did you have chicken
We,
tenders?
yeah.
Okay, so generally for school groups, we do that just because a lot of kids don't love chicken with a bone. And so we generally serve chicken that has a bone in it and things like that. And so some kids don't like that. Also, the chicken tender is a cheaper option. And so that helps, with kids because I don't want to have to charge you $1 million to come on a field trip. And I know that I don't want to make it expensive for you. So I feel like a lot of what I try to think of for kids is something that's quick and easy that they will enjoy, but that doesn't take my kitchen a long, long time to make and isn't as expensive.
What's one new idea that you would love to add to the farm one day?
I've thought about coffee. I would really like to add coffee into maybe the creamery aspect of it because I feel like lots of people like that. I love coffee. And I think that if you pair up coffee and ice cream, there's lots of different things that you can do to combine those. There's this drink called an affogato. So you put coffee and ice cream together and it's really yummy. One of my favorite flavors of our ice cream is our coffee ice cream. And we're also open for breakfast on Saturdays. So I thought that would be nice for the people who come in for breakfast to get to have a specialty coffee. So that's one of my ideas. I also really like to plan special events that are catered around our farm. So, for instance, last year, or last spring, I'm sorry, I did a tour of the farm so people could come out, adults and anyone who wanted to. And I kind of took them through each building and told them, hey, this used to be this, and this is what it was before. And here's some of the history of the farm, and kind of like what you got to do as a kid on your school tour, but I did that with adults. And then I also like to plan, we did a Dolly Day one time where people could dress up like Dolly Parton and come out and just have fun. And we did Dolly trivia. I love to do, I think I'm going to do a princess night in January for little girls just to dress up like a princess and get to come out. So there's lots of different events and things that I like to plan. I've done date nights on the farm where we have like a little fire pit and roast marshmallows, and we do a specialized menu, and you can come out and there's like live music that you can listen to. So I just try to think of things that make people want to come out there and gives them an experience to have while they're there.
You said you do breakfast. Do you like change the menu?
So we have actually a specialty pancake on our breakfast menu. So every month we have a new one. Right now, actually, I think we had two on for the month of November. So we did a cinnamon. No, that's not right. Let me think for a minute. We did a caramel apple one. So it had apples on top and then like our salted caramel drizzle over top of that pancake. It was so good. And then we also did a pumpkin one with cream cheese icing on it. And I believe for December, we're going to move into doing a caramelized pecan one, so something of that effect. But that's probably the thing that changes the most on the breakfast menu. On that menu, we have things like waffles, pancakes, baked oatmeal, all kinds of different farm breakfasts, which is like eggs and bacon and biscuits and things like that. But definitely the seasonal pancake that changes all the time is my favorite.
Do you have any upcoming events?
Some other events that we have upcoming are some Christmas things. So Santa, we always have him come to the kitchen around Christmas time, and he comes a few different times, and you can come get your picture taken with him. I also have, you might want to come to this in December, a kids' day where we make salt dough ornaments, and then you can get ice cream sorbet for you. And then we will have some more events, like I said, coming up in January. I think we're going to do a cookie decorating class, the princess night.
How do people find out when the events are happening?
Great question. So we have a lot of presence on our social media. We put out upcoming event calendars on there. You can also call the kitchen and ask, but we have a Facebook, the kitchen at Grace Meadows Farm, as well as an Instagram. And then we also have that for the creamery. So you can also look up the creamery at Grace Meadows. And we've got 3 locations of the creamery. So there's one in Kingsport, one in downtown Jonesboro, and then one on the farm. But we've got kind of things going on at all places. So it's fun to get to find out that stuff on Facebook or Instagram.
I think we're going to go to Grace Meadows actually one day with all the Kidversation people. Maybe you would be there.
I would love that. That would be so fun. Please let me know when you're coming so that I can come see you guys.
Do you have anything you would like to say to the audience?
Thank you so much for letting me be here today. And I really enjoyed talking with you, Charlotte, and getting to just kind of see it from your perspective. So, like I said earlier, getting to see the farm from other people's perspective reminds me of the beauty of it, the fun of it, and it's something that I don't want to take for granted. I just hope that everyone else can come out and enjoy it like you did. I'm always happy to do field trips or, show people around whenever they come, and definitely would love for anyone who's watching to stop in or listening to stop in and grab some ice cream or come in and grab a good warm Southern cooking meal.
Thank you for joining us today and showing us the story of Grace Meadows. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Kidversations. Bye! Kidversations, small voices, big stories.